we're going to tell your story about how your church is being a welcoming space for families in the first 1,000 days. So I just wanted to start by asking you to introduce yourself and tell us where you are joining from and your role in your church.
Okay, my name is Ditaba Amos Mutou. I'm living at Refenhotso, Dennisville. My church location is the Tembakubeka section. The church is Christian Apostolic Heaven Church in Zion.
Okay, and what is your role in the church?
I'm the pastor.
So you're the lead pastor. And when you're welcoming families in the first 1,000 days, what are you doing to make them feel welcomed? What can you give us some examples of what you're doing inside your church?
First of all, Megan, I welcome each and everyone in the church. The visitor, when it's arrived at my church, then I go to them and introduce myself and ask, how do you feel in the church?
You shared with me that when a child makes a noise whilst you are preaching or holding a gathering, there's something that you do to help the mom or dad feel like they are still welcomed even if their child is making a noise. Do you want to tell me that story?
Right. I stop to preach or the meeting, then I go to mom or a dad and hold the child and try to feel comfortable. Then go next to me and put it there. Then give me some toy and some sweets. Then after that, if I see is smiling or playing well, then I can go to continue with my meeting or preaching.
Okay, so you are demonstrating or being the role model for your congregation to be going and helping mom if the baby's making a noise. Do you see anybody else in your congregation doing that? Have you asked somebody in your congregation to go and help holding the baby when baby's making a noise? Or what does your congregation do when a baby's making a noise or the mom is wanting to breastfeed, or what do they do?
I teach the same. Go and help a mother or a dad. Don't take the child to go outside. No, it's a part of the conversation or the preaching. Try, play with them, make it comfortable, make it happy to see how homely we are.
Okay, that sounds great. And then what do you do when moms need to breastfeed or they want to change the nappy? What are you doing in your church to help them with that? I think you said that you don't have a spare room to do that. So what do you do?
I don't have a spare room in my church, but if a mother wants to change a baby, a snappy, then we have the crate as a warm place at the back, and he can change the child snappy there.
Do you ever have a teen mum or maybe a single mum or a single dad with a baby coming to church? How would you welcome those families in?
When you see the person like that coming to the church, when they enter in the church, Then I go or the congregate go and help with taking the bag or a baby, then show them where they can sit comfortably with in the church and say, you are welcome, feel at home.
That's fantastic, Ditaba. And it sounds that you are really encouraging your congregation to do it because you were doing it as the pastor. So what is your goal? If you were to think about your church, say in a year or 2 years' time, what do you want your church to be like in welcoming families into your congregation? What would be your goal?
My goal, I want to see the different peoples in my church feel warmly, feel comfortable and protected, and happiness in my church. And go out and spread those messages to say a church is a living place. It's a warm place.
That sounds amazing. And so what are you finding difficult to start in your church, or was it easy to start welcoming families into your church? Did your congregation support you? How did you start doing it, and what challenges did you have, or how easy has it been to start?
Yeah, first of all, we are facing those challenges. It was so hard. Before we joined this group, it was so difficult because each and everyone do the way he want. There is no control until I learned this is such a mess. Then I was message when we are at the conference with the other different pastors. Then I came with those ideas and put it in a church. It was so lovely. It was so lovely. It was so enjoyable to say the family is the king in the church. Without family, you are there nothing.
Hmm. So was your congregation happy and willing to include families in the first 1,000 days? Even if the baby's making a noise, or maybe the parent is a single parent, was your congregation okay to welcome them inside?
They are welcome. They are welcome. They are enjoyed. Because first they will say, no, take those child outside. They are making noise. I said to them, no, it's a part and parcel of this conversation. I want to hear. So you can't take this child outside. So try to make it happy. Try to make it comfortable. Carry on.
That sounds great. And yeah, I love that you are challenging your congregation to think about keeping the child inside and helping mom to feel comfortable even when her baby's making a noise. So what advice would you give another pastor or another congregation that is wanting to make their environment in their church welcoming for families in the first 1,000 days? What advice would you give them?
My advice that I can give the other pastor in the church, be what you are. Smile all the time. Try to approach each and every one to say, how do you feel? What are you doing at home? You have a problem. Share with them. and the as well as the concrete. Then together we can defeat the whole. Even a child is crying or a child is in need, go and help them. Though it's not your child, but in the church it's your child.
That's great. Thank you, Pastor Ditaba. I really appreciate you taking the time today and explaining to us what you are doing in your church. And it doesn't sound like you've had to spend any money to do this. You haven't had to build a new church or a new room. You're just using what you are already doing as the pastor and showing your congregation how to do it. So I thank you for sharing that with us.